And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wolf. It's great to see everybody here. Happy Wednesday. I'm really excited to dive into this conversation with you folks today. This episode is brought to you with Steam22, and we have Keegan behind, I was going to say behind the mic because I'm so used to being in spaces, but we're in a stream setting today. So I'm really excited to get in the conversation. The next evolution of sports betting. They're taking a pretty cool concept, 50 million plus proven sportsbook business, now scaling it to on-chain. You're talking instant payouts. There's full transparency, reward system, benefiting people for using the ecosystem. Really, really cool stuff, cool concept. Not just something that's sort of smoke and mirrors, but taking a concept that's worked, and it's a proven business model that works in the real world, aside from crypto. And so, a lot of really interesting stuff. Keegan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could, I know I gave a bit of a brief introduction on your company, but if you could give a bit of background on who you are, why you ended up in the sports betting arena, and maybe where you see the industry heading as well.
Okay. So a little bit about my background. Engineer by trade, own a business here in the real world. I've been in blockchain development about 6 years. I've been building for a blockchain and platform that is yet to come out, but we have a lot of tech. I have never placed a sports bet in my life. So the way that I kind of fell into this is my neighbor, they lives 3 houses down, our kids play together, came to me one day and he's like, hey, I have a buddy who owns a book. He owns a sports book, and he has a lot of interest in crypto, and he's kind of looking for someone that's local that he can, find out how to do some things with, because he has a couple of ideas. I said, cool. I live in Texas, and in Houston, there is a small blockchain community, but it's not very extensive. Yeah. And so any friend in crypto I can make, I'm like, yes, please, someone I can talk to about what I have a passion for. And so met with him. Our lunch ended up from being scheduled for like 30 minutes, ended up being a couple hours long. And I started to delve in some of the tech that we had, some of my ideas with the space and my ethos and ethics and this efficacy in the space. And it really matched up. And so we started talking about the vision of what he wanted for Steam. And then I started talking about, well, you can do that, but we can also do this. And we just kind of clicked. Learned a lot about it. Still learning. Casey is a very good resource. He's been, like I said, he's been in operations for 13 years. And kind of started to think of some really cool ideas and things that we both saw when we reviewed the industry that were kind of formulaic and derivative of the overall, like, people like to gamble, people like to place bets. So there's no need to have a whole lot of reason to keep users on the platform other than they're there to do something. They're going to do it either way. So just put something up for people to use. With some variation in that, some places do try, but we had some really cool spin on the ideas of what we could do, and also solve some issues with some of the backroom dealings and some of the liquidity issues that books have by bringing it to the world in a decentralized, trustless way, maintaining the ethos of blockchain, because we both believe in blockchain's capability very, very strongly for its mutability and trustless ecosystem.
Wow. Okay.
So that's kind of the short, very condensed version.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say the shortest you can get it. Wow, that's pretty well. How has the journey been so far, I guess? Like, I mean, how long has the timeline been as well?
So for the development of the tech behind it, I've spent the past 6 years of my life developing an extensive on-chain ecosystem. And the stuff that we have in it is really applicable to many different industries because we built it to be that way. So for normal projects that want to develop anything like what we're pushing out, you're talking a development timeline of like 3+ years. Even with a team of devs that are working with us. One of the things that makes us really cool is that from token launch to beta deployment, we have a timeline of 3 months. Primary will be in primary public accessible platform in 6. Yeah, so we're 2 months and 2 weeks away from beta launch. And most of that was skinning the tech, taking our existing tech and skinning it with what the designers came up with. And we got approved design yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, and it is beautiful.
Wow.
I can't give any sneak peeks quite yet because I think Casey would kill me, but I think people are going to really like it. There's some Apple Glass. There's some very cool techie stuff that will definitely stick with the vibe of Web3.
Interesting. Okay, very cool. Was your partner you mentioned, was he, like you said, he wasn't that deep in the crypto world? He was mainly in the sports world, and so that little, the two worlds kind of
so Casey has an interesting story. Casey was a contractor. He owned a company, and he would get a lot of materials from China. And this was way back when Jesus walked the earth, 12, 13 years ago. But in blockchain, that's when Jesus walked the earth.
Of course.
He just started using Bitcoin to transact because it was easier to transact in Bitcoin than it was to do dollar to won. And just never thought anything about it. It was just a utility token to him that he was using to get supplies. One of his friends told him one day how much Bitcoin had been running, and he's like, huh. And he goes, I have a whole bunch of Bitcoin. Because he would always have like 0.1, 0.2, 0.5 Bitcoin left over after a transaction from a regular supply chain order. And he went and checked, and he had over $1 million in Bitcoin. And he was like, okay. And he checked his other accounts, had quite a bit more. And that's what brought him wholly into the space. He started buying XRP, started buying Ethereum, any token that he gets his hands on, just because he saw the value that a lot of us saw way back when it started, when the first pumps started happening. So he sold his company, and his dream was to run his own sportsbook in poker. He's a huge poker player. He's played in the world. He just recently played in the World Series of Poker. He does charity tournaments and stuff like that. It's just his passion. And so he started his book. And kind of has been running it, but he's been in the background accumulating crypto the entire time and just watching the space. But he didn't have access to people that were actually builders in blockchain. And finding a trusted source, especially in this industry, is it's new and there's a lot of things going on. And for my platform, I used to say there is no trust in this trustless space, because there's a lot of activity that goes on behind the scenes that is not quite up on the up and up. So he was trying to find someone that was local, that had actual ethics and wanted to run things like a business. When he found me, like I said, it clicked, and that's how our two histories came together, and it's building something really cool.
Very cool. And, speaking of trust and trustlessness, in the betting world, there's a lot of people who complain about trust within betting. There's odds manipulation, there's payouts, you can even freeze accounts. How do you guys ensure transparency, fairness, especially for the new user when they're getting onboarded to something like this?
Okay, so there's several things. This is actually one of my big things and Casey's. So when I met Casey, because he runs a book, right? And you hear a lot of things about people that run books or casinos. Even in every world, it's like there's always some like mafioso background, that you're expecting to see guy with a baseball bat dragging you into a room because you won too much money. So when I talked to Casey, I was like, look, we're both business guys. We own legitimate businesses. We've been in our careers for years and years and years. As you can see, gray beard. I'm not a kid. We were kind of talking, and I was like, so tell me what your ethos is for your book. And he goes, look, I run a gentleman's book. I'm here for people to have fun. I'm here because I love and I have a passion for gaming, for gambling, and for sports. Like I'm a sports guy. I'm a junkie. I can admit it. I have a problem. I'm addicted to sports. And he was like, but I'm not here to destroy people's lives. I'm not here to get people to lose their houses to me. I'm here for people to have fun. I don't care who wins. All I care about is that I get my fee for running the book. And I want my users to have fun. That's how I've grown my business. I've focused on that. And I've really tried to stay on keeping my ship straight and not going after max profit extract, which we're both against. And so that really resonated with me, because that's not something you hear from someone that runs a casino or a book, right? You don't expect to hear that. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, cool. And so when we started talking about Steam and getting into how we wanted its infrastructure to be set up, we're like, let's decentralize it. Let's stick with our ethos. We love crypto. We love blockchain. Let's do this. It turns out not so easy, but we have it done. Really what Steam is it works like a protocol token. So that back end, like behind the dark room, or whether or not a bet's going to carry through to payout because the place goes bankrupt or because they just decide not to pay you or withhold your payment till they have more money, we can't do that. You have, like when one user puts their token into a betting contract, the house, us, has to place the cover of the bet in the contract as well to solidify, to lock the contract for the bet on chain. It's all immutable. It's all visible. You can see it. When that happens, when the event is certified through our API calls, it's certified closed. Usually that's right at the end of an event, but we have found out there's events like some Formula One races. They will withhold results. Same thing with horse racing until further review. For stuff like that, once our API call sends back certification, the funds are instantaneously released to the winner. We have no control over it. We can't manipulate it. We can't touch it. That takes a big problem of backroom dealings out of the ecosystem of sports betting that no one else has done thus far. We don't understand why, but we are. That's how we operate. And we think it's going to really shake up a lot of the other books because it adds a level of trust that other books can't achieve without similar function.
Yeah.
That's our plan, you know? So I think that's kind of how we fix that issue. We bring the trust back to people by just showing everyone what we're doing and being transparent in a way that is meant to be done on blockchain.
Yeah, and you said something there that makes perfect sense. Like the trustlessness there is what people are looking for. But I bet you, Keegan, I bet you probably do have a bit of an inkling on why maybe people haven't made the move to more transparency. Let's be more accountable. There's probably an inkling on why maybe people haven't wanted to go that direction.
Yeah, as far as from a company route, I have a very, very good inkling. I don't want to trash anybody. I don't want to talk about billion-dollar industry or companies. Sure. But I think there's some things going on in backroom dealings. I really, really do believe that there's some manipulation of player funds and potentially even odds that isn't exactly on the up and up. And it's not just a house edge. There is no user edge, I think, in some of this. And it's presented to users as if there is, but it's all false. That's my opinion. I have no facts to prove, and I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to end up with a lawsuit. Because when you have billion-dollar players in the game, we're not going to be the most liked, I don't think, by a lot of these people because we're changing things in a way that I think they're not prepared for. And to keep up once we get going, they're going to have to start making some moves to show that they're just about being upfront as we are. And that's kind of, in some of my dealings, I've talked with some people and I've had pushback of, we don't think that's going to work. Okay, well, you don't think it's going to work? We know it'll work. You just don't want to do it.
Yep.
You know?
That makes sense. It makes sense. I think the world's trending towards more transparency. There's only so much you can keep throwing the hood over. Eventually people are like, dude, I don't even care. I just want to know what's real.
Yeah. So like, that's the whole point of blockchain. And as more people fall into what it actually is capable of, and as more businesses come in and the ethics, we have a sense of business ethics and, educate our ecosystem, people that are new, which I'm a very big proponent of as well. As we do more and more of that, main adoption is only so far away. You have major industries that are major players in the space that hold patents on pretty much anything that they currently have, but they hold patents on blockchain capability. They're just waiting for the giant push out. So it is coming. And at that point, it's just going to become the norm. And a lot of industry doesn't like that because they can't do a lot of the shit they do in the background anymore because of that transparency. And I think that's huge for us. It's a huge statement to make when everyone goes into a casino and they're wondering where the dark room is with the guys with suits and baseball bats, right? Like you just have that mental picture in your head of movies you've seen growing up. It's not quite like that. It is very corporatized now, but it's not all the way how it should be. And we're trying to change that.
Yeah. And I think what people want is convenience. So if the smart contract is such that it's triggered and instantly the payouts there, that's just, I'm like, dude, of course this is going to be where we go.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, you know that like, so especially with smaller, sorry, I'm starting to like run through my thought process here. Especially so if you think about it from the perspective of we're not a huge billion-dollar industry like book, right? So there are a lot of books, and I didn't know this, that start out and they go under and they just don't pay people. And I was like, but they're a business, they have to. And but they just go bankrupt. Right. We can't do that. Like we can't take the bet unless we can cover it with our smart contract interaction. That's why we're more of a protocol token than anything, because our token is required to execute the bet.
Could you dive into that actually a little bit on the token side? You got the STM token. There's also heat token.
Yes.
If you could, I would love a bit of a breakdown there.
So that has to do with like building an ecosystem. And one of the thought processes behind what we wanted to do is bring the fun back to betting. Like when I initially met the guys at Wolf, I was like, when you go to a casino with your buddies, you make side bets, you joke around, you're having a good time. When you go to, when you're at a barbecue watching a game, you bet with your buddies, right? I bet you $100 about this, So we wanted to bring some of that back to the feel and get out of this sterile digital environment that a lot of books or casinos have. They try to make it fun, but they don't farm user interaction. So we're like, let's gamify it. Let's let people have fun. Let's give them a reward system and a utility token that they can generate in order to, have access to other areas of our ecosystem to do some really cool stuff. One of the things that our utility token does, how is it made first? everyone that currently holds Steam or anyone that buys Steam at any point holds it in their wallet is passively staking it. I'm a big believer in this. I don't believe someone should have to stake something they bought to earn a reward and then pay again to unstake it. So we believe in passive staking. If you hold it, diamond hand it, you're generating rewards. We have oracles that read the blockchain. It's randomized, but very often. And if you sell a little bit, your rewards generation goes down. That token that you're generating is then be able to be utilized so you can choose your reward. A lot of casinos, they give you gambling credit or they give you a free room, right? But you don't really get to pick and choose and select what you want, right? So we are going to deploy a gasless marketplace. And in that marketplace, we'll have everything from bet insurance, comp play, to, clawback, like I want to call it like a mulligan for a bet insurance, to reduced VIG or reduced bet costs, like fee, on stuff like that, to mintable VIP cards that have extra perks that we're working on partnerships right now with, all the way to real stuff. So one of the things I believe in a marketplace is like, we're not an NFT marketplace, but we tokenize all of our assets. So like, let's say you have enough heat rewards and you see that there's a Michael Jordan autograph basketball in the marketplace. Go buy it, use your rewards, get what you want. Enter a raffle to win a Rolex, buy a Rolex, and with some of our higher end stuff. Get a trip to Vegas or something else that's comped with airfare and everything that you can buy or win raffles to and select your experience. That's kind of one of the big differences we're bringing. It's also one of the things that makes us like, there's a reason to own us now because people are generating those rewards. The marketplace will go live on beta. It will be stocked. And so people will be able to utilize their token as soon as we go live in 2.5 months, and they're accruing it now. So
gotcha. So basically it pays to be in right now versus like you could wait, but it makes sense.
Well, I mean, that and we're 12x since launch. So I just want to, so we're almost at a $10 million market cap and we're still moving ahead. So I think for us, I mean, there's a reason to hold us because of what we're generating and because of what we're coming out with and how quick. A lot of people hear stories like this, but they say, we're going to have the platform out in a year. We're going to have it out. And that year always turns into 18 months. Then it turns into 24 months. And then if it comes out at all, you've lost interest.
Yeah.
So for us, it was, and so for us, it was really big on, okay, we have to be able to do this quickly. The space moves at the speed of light. We have 3 months tops for beta. And then we go into beta, we have bounties out. We just got that form out, I think last night. And then go directly into primary because that's about how long we have to show that we can do this before people are like, it's never going to happen and they move on.
Got it. So, can you talk to me a little bit about like, in terms of the tokens, like sustainability, the value of it, if they're vesting schedules or buybacks, like these kind of things? In terms of token, a lot of people, the second a token gets introduced, half the people get excited, half the people get really nervous.
Yeah. Okay. So, just give me 1 second because my air purifier's on, and I don't know if you can hear it. It's really loud.
Yeah, no worries.
And then I can answer that because I'm the one who designed the tokenomics.
Perfect. And while Keegan is stepping out to take care of that, if anyone who, for the people who are watching right now, if you are on X, I pinned a comment from Wolf Bitcoin under the Wolf Bitcoin stream, and I'll pin it under Wolf Financials as well, even though I'm not under Wolf Financial account right now, to a link to go to Steam22. By the way, if you guys want to find out more information, check out their site. Highly recommend it. And if you're on YouTube, that should be down below in the description. But if you're on X, there's a comment below the stream that you can find it. But yeah, Keegan.
Okay. So quick thing on what you just said. Our site is a placeholder. That is not our platform. That is our landing page. It's multiple pages, but it's landing. The platform will, as we start to release it, will come out more and more. Okay. So keep checking the site because you're going to see some really cool stuff over the next few weeks. With that being said, tokenomics. Okay. So the thought process was, how do we make an ecosystem sustainable? And one of the things that you have to do is you have to build an economy of scale, right? You're basically building a little mini government when you're developing a platform. All the way from, okay, what is this token going to do? Is it going to have any rights to it? Like think DAO infrastructure. That is something we've considered, but we aren't implementing until we're into year 3. So we actually can get a full handle on the size of the token economy that we need to plan that for. When it comes to overall supply, we started with 100 million. We instantaneously, between the early investors and team, had a quarter of that, 25 million token vested for 36 months on a 12-month drip. After that, at 8% a month. So the APY vesting is open for anyone that wants to vest. It will be closing in the next 30 days. And then that token is locked on a contract, can't be touched for at least 3 years. We put 20 million in liquidity pool. We put 5 million in reserve liquidity in the wallet. So we have money for listings and stuff like that, like supply for listing. And then we took all the other token and we locked it on a 3-month lock. That way we can't even touch, with the exception of, I think, 6 million token that we can't even touch, because we have to utilize that token for settling bets. Like we have to have that in our thing. So we started with roughly 25 million in actual circulation. That's our circulating supply. With the way that the token is built, being like a protocol, it's required for the ecosystem to flow. It's not just you hold the token to generate rewards. A lot of tokens, that's the only utility. For us, we have to use the token. And it's one Steam to one Steam. So users utilize that token to bet. I had a lot of pushback on this because everyone was like, go stablecoin, go Bitcoin, because a lot of the plays in the especially online industry right now with crypto for gaming is they're equity groups. They're accumulating different tokens and trading those tokens for funds under the guise of gaming. We wanted to build something that was a bit stronger. So for us, it is, let's decentralize it, use the token for betting, and then let people use the token to accumulate for marketplace for the rewards, right? And the way that we designed the tokenomics was to bring up our token through users. As we acquire users to utilize the token, as it gets locked in contracts, you end up with restriction of supply, right? So just econ 101 is you have a supply and demand curve, and then you have market equilibrium somewhere right in the middle. That curve, that's when you start to see buy and sell pressure, right? That's one of the reasons that our chart is just going up, because we currently have 2,500 users on the Web2 book, and bets right now, about 30% of his current platform are settling bets in the token. For us, it was a good use case, and it was a good test to see that the infrastructure works. With that being said, the way that our tokenomics is built is to be sustainable. As users grow, the token value comes up. We ran our numbers based off of the average, and these are averages globally. You can look them up. There are statistics that we actually researched. The average active sports bettor, and I didn't even know this, place is about 17.4 bets a week.
Oh, no kidding. That's a lot more than I thought.
And I went to Casey, and he's like, bro, the average active sports bettor place is more like 30. Because you got to think like parlays or multi-legs and stuff like that. People place those bets. That's multiple bets, right?
That's a good point.
And the average sports bettor is going to bet between $65 and $100 per bet. So if when you want to look at where is market equilibrium for the token, all you got to do is calculate. It's a simple equation. You take the amount of sports bettors that we have on platform, the users, and then you take the amount of bets they're placing, on average, and the amount and the dollar value per bet. So we took those averages, took the mean average and reduced it by 20% to come up with our base level of this should be our floor once we go live. And then ran our after that, when you're doing tokenomics, you get a token velocity, which a token velocity is turnover of the token in the ecosystem. We are expecting a mid-level token velocity of like 10. That's where the token is flowing through the ecosystem. The marketplace and other incentives we offer incentivize people to hold. That lowers the velocity to where it drives price up because you constrict supply. It's just a supply and demand issue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's basic. It's like, so for us, we have a base price at 5,000 users at beta launch, where the base price, I think, is $1.33 a token. And that's at market equilibrium. Now, it will range somewhere in between there. That's why I say I believe our token is really undervalued, just because of the dynamic of it's not just used to hold. It actually has to serve a purpose in the platform and has to be utilized, so it constricts supply even more. And we planned that. We did that so we could grow and so we could have the funds to do some really cool things.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like you guys were able to think about these things longer term. I'd say most companies just aren't, for whatever reason, maybe they just don't have the funding or whatever it is, they just don't do that.
I think they just don't have the vision or foresight to see past the front of their hand.
It could be. It certainly could be.
And that's a logistical breakdown.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. All good. I was just going to jump a little bit into regulation there. Amongst things that probably people potentially sometimes skip corners around kind of thing. But
Yeah.
you know, how does this work in terms of regulation? Where are you licensed? What's the roadmap for this for different jurisdictions? Does that change? Like, how does this all work?
Okay, so the roadmap is this: bringing Steam22 for the blockchain side. We are trying to dot every I and cross every T with regard to regulatory frameworks. This is very important to me and Casey, and it's a very extensive process to actually get a licensed functioning casino. Sports. I say casino; it's a sports book, but like to me, it's well, you go to gamble. But so we're currently going through our licensing process in Curacao. We have our entity set up. Is also going to be in Curacao with a second entity, I believe, in the Caymans. And the lawyers are handling all that. When it comes to regulatory framework, we just do it. The lawyers tell us. Like it is like, look, you have to do X, Y, and Z to maintain your license. That's what we have to do. And as we grow, as we go after different licenses, as we move through our roadmap and we push into other areas, like when we go to Isle of Man so we can get into UK, when we try to get additional licensing in Canada, when we push into the US in years, because the US is extremely expensive. When we start to work through that roadmap, that's when our infrastructure has to get bigger. And I'm guessing our legal department is going to be massive at that point, just from a compliance and regulatory standpoint. But for us, it's important to do that right. It's important if we're going to base our entire thought process of we're trying to change the industry, we're trying to bring what's in the dark into the light, and we're doing it in a blockchain decentralized manner. We have to maintain that ethos of ethics the entire time, which includes regulatory stuff, because that's part of being ethical. That's part of operating and saying we're doing this right, we're doing this legit, we're here for the long term, and that for us is important. So to answer your question, because I know I drift on sometimes, is it's important to us to do this the right way and to meet every regulatory requirement as it comes to us. And we are currently in the process of doing that right now, and we'll continue to do so throughout the extensive roadmap we have laid out, which I think is for the first 5 years. If you read our white paper, I wrote it several weeks ago. It's about, I think it's 40 something pages long, but we actually dive into some of that stuff on the roadmap.
Very cool. Very cool. Love that. And there are also there's some pretty big names in the sports betting world. There's DraftKings, there's Stake, there's Rollbit, there's 100 that seem like they pop up every day. But some of the, those are some of the big ones that people will recognize. Where do you guys fit in? How do you stand out? And beyond that, for traditional betting, do you think there's going to be more and more of these prediction markets, these peer-to-peer stuff, more social engagement?
Oh yeah. So peer-to-peer markets like a poly market, right? Is what you're saying? Yep. So yeah, so we actually will have a poly market infrastructure for traditional betting lines. The plan for it is to release it 6 months post primary launch, because we really wanted to focus on integrating the current Web2 book, which they are traditional bettors. They're used to traditional betting lines. So we wanted to bring that first to secure our base users to where we have, we're growing and can start moving forward, adding some cool stuff. We have Web3 games coming out for Web3 users that are already developed and getting ready to start testing those. And so we're not just going to have a sports book. We are going to have gaming. And what makes us different than Rollbit or Stake or Yeet. I've talked with Ben over at Yeet once so far. He's a very, very nice guy. Cool. And they're doing some really cool things. For us, what makes us different is the fact that we're on chain. Now, there are other entities that are on chain, but so far I haven't found a sports book. I can find slots. I can find other things like that. Can't find a truly on-chain slot because of the random number generator, which is something that people will get to see, something we get to have later on, but I can't disclose or to discuss that right now. With a book specifically, haven't found one on-chain. Why is that? It's not impossible to do. I mean, we had tech to do it. Other devs can figure it out. How come no one put it on-chain? We also aren't settling bet in Bitcoin or Ethereum. We're not selling bet in USD. We're selling bet one Steam to one Steam. Because we wanted our token to be like a protocol. We wanted to lock it up in contract to ensure that safety to our user base. Hey, the money is there when you place this bet for you to be covered. You don't have to worry about us rugging you. No one else has done that. No one else does it in a transparent way. We do. Their reward systems are different to how points are accumulated to marketplaces and stuff like that. They don't really exist in the same manner or function. They don't tokenize assets for transferability where someone can, let's say you get some of our rewards. Let's say you are lucky and you win a raffle and you get a Rolex, right? And I keep saying that because that's a plan, is to put stuff like that in the on the sportsbook under partnerships that we have in the marketplace for people to be like, oh yeah, this is really cool. And actually, here's the thing I haven't said. Those assets, you don't have to claim them. When you claim them, we burn the asset. Your digital asset goes away and you get the in real world one. You can sell that. You can sell it like you would trade any NFT. You can list it and you can sell it for actual liquid value to anyone. And that's kind of one of the things that not only can you get that stuff and get it because it's cool, you can also get that stuff and be like, hey, I'm going to make money off this and sell it. It's a real world item. Once it's burned, we ship it to you. I don't think anyone has that quite yet. So I think that makes us different. That gives us some spice and makes us exciting. Also, our side betting infrastructure that no one really has. We're gamifying it with clans and stuff like that. Like I said, backyard barbecue, you bet with your buddies. When you're on a casino trip, you table bet with your buddies. Hey, I bet you $20 the next card she flips at the blackjack table is a face card, right?
Right.
That brings the fun back. That is one of the things that we're doing. We talked a lot about security and trustless and blah, 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 blah. What people are going to really like is the fact that we're trying to bring the fun back to this, not just be like, we're here to be secure. We're here to like get people talking, get clans working, gamify it to where people have a user experience that's enjoyable instead of just, I'm here to place a bet and move on to the next thing. We want to build an ecosystem where people want to hang out, just like real casinos do. So we're making it fun again. We're giving people the ability to side bet one another. We call it, it's kind of like copy betting, with the exception of if you do it on a player that you do it with a player you don't know, you can actually just, hey, they've won 90% of their bets. I want to bet whatever they bet, but you don't bet on the actual betting line. You bet on them to win. So it's not exactly the same.
Interesting.
Right. Which is fun because you can look at odds all you want, but unless you know the player that you're betting on, you don't know if they're sick and they make a bad call that week. So it kind of adds some spice to it. We have some infrastructure where we're going to be having side bets in Steam and in Heat for certain betting lines. The fun thing about side betting is we're also doing a side bet style where you can just bet on anything. Like one of the big things I joke about, and I don't want to offend anybody, but one of the big projects was Big Ring Dildo or whatever. Because of I think it was Green Dildo. It's what happened at the WNBA game that made national news and people started meme tokening it.
Of course.
So I use it as an example because it's kind of in the mindset of everyone in the space right now. And it's like, so you can create a side bet of what color that thing is going to be if it gets thrown on at the game. Is that going to happen at the next WNBA game? Is it going to rain out? Is the pitcher going to wear yellow shoes? So you can, with your buddies, start to make these bets in between each other and carry your own action. And all you do is you pay your fee in Steam. You create the bet. Your buddy can take it, and anyone else who wants to join in can take it. That's kind of like a sort of poly market style for us to test, but that's a function that we're trying to bring in along with clans and gamification to have people have an enjoyable experience that makes them want to stick around and participate. And we think that that's something that's missing in the current space. You can watch someone stream. You can watch that. In about a year, we should have our video application up so where anyone can do it. Like our chat is, you have to be careful in our chat because it is on chain. Like I said, we do everything on chain. So like our global chat has a thread system. People will be able to message one another. Clans will have rooms to talk in on the platform, not move to Discord to talk. You will be on the platform doing this, and everything is on chain and verifiable. So it's really cool. And just once you see it, you'll be amazed.
I was gonna say, I feel like trustless is probably the best way to put it. Like that's the best word you could use is trustless. Like like they have blockchains right there. Like you can say this and then do that, but we're gonna do it right there. So
and the thing is it helps us confirm bets for a side bet.
Exactly. There you go.
So when two users are talking and they bet with one another and they create the contract, they can say, no, I didn't do that. We're like, well, on chain it says right here at this time that you said this.
There you go. When I was in college, I did RA for one semester and I got out of there. But we had we had the roommate dossiers, they called them, and you had to just go in, you say, all right, here's our agreements. If we break them, this is what we'll come back to. And when it happens in like 3 weeks, I will pull this back up and we're going to roll right through this together. So let's deal with this right now. And, that's how it is in real life. But in the tech side of things, it's even better. There's no humans involved. You just do the thing. It just triggers or doesn't trigger. Well,
and it's not just a semester. This is forever. On chain, it lasts until the chain goes down. And I don't think Ethereum's going anywhere anytime soon.
Probably not.
But that's the fun of it. And it's also a way for people to shit talk each other. The meaning of Steam is like in the gambling world, Steam means like people that are hot. They're steaming. And the conversely, the opposite meaning is they're steaming you, which just means they're They're smoking you. They're talk like trash talk.
Mm.
It's a big term in the poker world from what Casey's told me. And that's kind of the vibe we want to bring. We want people to come and shit talk each other. We want people saying things in chat where they're like, look at what you said 6 months ago. You were wrong. Look who's in the Super Bowl now, and stuff like that, just for people to have
Yeah.
fun. That's part of the fun of the experience. And for us, I think we have a lot of different functionality we're going to be adding to stick with that ethos and bring that to our platform. And we're hoping other people see what we're doing and they start to trend along, because I think it'll just increase enjoyment throughout a multi-billion-dollar industry and make it not just about money, make it about user experience again. You know?
Definitely. Do you think with a couple of things you said that got me thinking about this, but with the STM token, do you think it's possible eventually it becomes as more standard currency across multiple sports books? Is that even the vision for it, or is there more to keep it internal?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that. There are plans. There are discussions and partnerships moving in the background that have not been executed yet, but are very much walking through the process.
Very cool.
But currently, it will only be utilized for our platform. There are some pretty big names that we've just entered discussions with for utilizing it as a betting option through cross-chain capabilities on other platforms, are bringing their stuff to us in a partnership agreement. So can't really discuss it, but I can tell you there are discussions happening and deals working in the background to do some cool stuff.
Okay, very cool. So a thread worth at least following you guys for upcoming announcements, I guess you could say.
Just
Right,
watch and see, and you'll find out all the cool stuff as we deploy it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kind of last couple questions here that I have, but if you fast forward like 3 to 5 years, what does success look like for you guys in terms of users, betting volume, maybe token economy? Like what kind of numbers come to mind for things you guys will be paying attention to?
So we are tracking every metric that we can track. As a casino, statistics is kind of our thing.
Yeah.
And math is kind of our thing. But when it comes down to it, it's really user acquisition and user experience that we're focused on. The trustless stuff and how we do it is really, really good, right? But it's not our focus. Our focus is to do it the right way and to get huge, right? Like we don't have an expectation to have 20 million users to be a stake.com tomorrow, but they're on our radar and they're a target. We know what we're doing. We know how cool it is. And all we have to do is acquire the user base and show that we're maintaining our ethics and our ethos. And we think naturally people will come. With me saying stakes as a target, it's a very egotistical thing to say. And I'm not saying that we're going to overtake them anytime soon or be even close to them. They have 25 million active daily users, right? 25 million. Our first 5-year roadmap is less than 1% of the market. We're aiming for between 250,000 to 500,000 users within the first 36 months. First 5 years, we're aiming for 1 million and deploying into US markets. So this is a long-term plan. Our game plan for just the initial phase is 5 years. And that has to do with licenses take time. Regulatory stuff takes time. Infrastructure takes time. But as far as going live, we're starting with 5,000 active users. From that base, we plan on growing to 50 to 100,000 within the first 12 to 18 months. Through aggressive affiliate programs and stuff like that, and marketing. I mean, that's what casinos usually do. Sure. And then growing out from there, maintaining more licenses and growing our platform bigger and bigger and bigger until we are like stake. It is something you can do if it's staged properly. And if you follow the regulatory framework to the T, so you don't have any hiccups or anything like that with licensing, you can do it because people like to game. They like to place bets, especially in this space. We have a DJing culture, degenerate. The entire term is, degenerate gambler. And we call ourselves degens because that's what we are. We like to game, So I think it's a ideal segment of a market for us to be put in inside blockchain, because everyone here enjoys gaming, or at least that's what research says. And what I say, because I love gaming.
Well, I think they're gaming. They're trying to find any way to, I guess, find an edge, find something cool to capitalize on, see what kind of developments they're making. I just feel like there's so many that are tied to you being able to now not only you sink your teeth into something fun, but also potentially pull out some rewards. And I think people find that pretty enticing in 2025. Yeah. So it makes sense,
Well, and one of the things is, so we had the P2E stuff, and P2E wasn't really viable because unless the games don't make enough money to give rewards that are sustainable, other than to the top players in any volume. P2E is still fun. But then when you start to gamify other stuff and entire clan ecosystems on anything, gamification makes it fun. That's the whole point of gamification, and you see everything getting gamified because it drives user interaction, right? And the more time you're on the platform and enjoying yourself, the more likely you are to stay with us. It's a retention strategy for us. But it's not just a strategy, it's also because we want people to have fun. Like we're not doing it just for the money. We're doing it because this is what we want to use our own platform. Right? We want to have our own clan as Steam team and mess with people and enjoy it. And so we get to build it. So we're doing what we want. And we think everyone else is going to love it. But for retention and stuff like that, it's also a very good strategy. It has to be deployed right though. And that's the caveat. And for us, we have experience deploying things like this correctly. And so we know how to make it and how to make our economy flow to where users enjoy it without the red tape a lot of users experience when they get into these ecosystems that are not fully functional. And that's not a problem they'll have with us.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if I answered your question because I kind of drifted. So if I didn't, just let me know at any time if I need to retouch.
I just wanted to get just a general thought on kind of where you see things.
Sure.
You come from a way different perspective than the average person. You're coming in here very much in from the business side of things in the back end, and get to see what it looks like under the hood in terms of success for these companies. Do you also see like there was, I guess, Dave Portnoy comes to mind as like the most famous person who's like in the betting world because he streams, he does all these crazy fanatical things. I don't know if you know of him, but he's created Barstool Sports, massive media company. They do a whole lot of stuff in the gambling world, and I know that it's shown a lot of interest in the crypto world. He's also shown some strange behavior, I guess you could probably put it, during the meme coin craze. There's a period there I was like, what is this guy doing? But he found a lot of interest. It seems like the betting worlds and the crypto world make a lot of sense, not purely because crypto is just, not to say that crypto is gaming or crypto is pure gambling or anything like that. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in the industry from the tech side of things. But in terms of the industries meshing together, I am curious if you think it'll be in a massive, massive way, and what you think it'll look like the landscape, how it'll look like with social media and these people who come from a non-crypto background. They're going to come in, like I'm sure a lot of people you're meeting. So how do you kind of see this?
Okay, so my opinion on the space is, and I kind of touched on this through the DGen comment, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the natives, and like I'm blockchain native, right? I've been here long enough. I've been here since the start. But I am a DGen. We all are. Most of us carry our gamer tags. I have my real name up here just for KYC factor because we want people to know who we really are. But I go by Talking Tree in the space. I have for years. People know me as Tree, don't know my real name, and I consider them close personal friends. But the entire space is degens. That's kind of the culture because of the risk of crypto, because of we're just now coming into a lot of the regulatory stuff that we've needed for years. There have been lots of rugs. There's been lots of stuff that happened to people, and they still stayed and they took risk. That's the degen culture, is they take the risk because they see the viability or because they believe. Now, with that being aside, that's why I think gaming tethers so well from a gambling side. Gaming just tethers well because it's technology, and what any study will tell you is that the most of the people in crypto are going to be in their 20s to 50s. They're going to have a technical degree, a college background, and have disposable income in excess of $30,000 a year, right? People like that are techies are into stuff like blockchain because it's emerging technology. That's, when you're in college, you mentioned when you're in RA, when you're in college, if you take any marketing classes, one of the first things they start to tell you is early adopters, first adopters, people that bought the first VCRs. It's one of the things I remember learning about when I was in school. And you had the laser disc era where people had laser discs, and then you had the Sony versus this. Early adopters in technology always pay a premium, but usually end up coming on top. And we know from a market segment kind of who those people are, what their background is, what they're interested in. And so as crypto kind of got taken over by gamers, right? We know that market segment. We know who they are. At the same time, gambling tethers well because of gamers, the degen culture, to where you end up with this good mesh. And I think that a lot of the things that go on that people want to see change in the gaming industry as far as gambling can be solved with blockchain. Right? Just like there's a lot of industries, to be frank, that can be solved with the trustless infrastructure and immutability. I mean, we've in another company that I own, we've done work with DARPA, right? Working on some very cool stuff that I cannot talk about. Someone might knock at my door and take me somewhere. But with that kind of stuff, the applications that you can actually, the things that you can apply blockchain technology to is endless, and most of it's from a security basis, right? And a infrastructure basis to protect people. That's really what the use for blockchain is. And in the casino industry, not only for the user, but for the actual house side, protecting yourself against, external actors, making sure that you're meeting regulations as regulations tighten up to constrict the industry. That kind of stuff, blockchain is very useful for. And I think there's a very, very good argument to make that it is a strong use case for all of crypto to pay attention to, what we see going on in gaming right now from a blockchain perspective. It's just, it makes good sense. It makes smart. It's where the smart money should go. Even for big casinos, just from an accounting standpoint, and you name it, blockchain has some sort of handle on how it can solve the problem, right? In a numbers realm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think you're probably onto something. I mean, the blockchain in the crypto world, at least for me, has always symbolized innovation. There's all sorts of people looking to take advantage of the system, in the world of innovation, but that's also where it's happening, it's like, where else are you going to go? Like, this is the world where people are thinking about these things.
Yeah. It's like the Wild West, right? So right now, and this has been this way for several years, in crypto, there's a lot of bad actors, a lot. But if you've noticed, things are getting more and more secure. Platforms are getting more and more trustworthy because they're beefing up their security. They're doing it in a way, like for us, we're issuing bounties, where we're telling white hats, come to us, break us, beat us, break us, make us yours. And then we're going to pay you to do it while we're in beta.
There you go.
That way we can make sure that we don't have any holes.
Beautiful.
We go through our audit process after that to make sure that they didn't leave any holes behind after we go through that. You find more and more companies doing this, right? And I say companies because a few years ago, it was a few guys hanging out that come up with an idea and they launch, right?
Yeah, there it is.
And a lot of that was hugely successful and there was a lot of failure, right? I tell people this all the time. There's a difference between a rug and a soft rug. So people that got rugged is fraud, right? People committed fraud, which I'm very much against. There's also a lot of good ideas that failed because they weren't funded properly or because guys had a really good idea, but had no way to make that idea into a company. That's a big leap from idea to business. Right. And I think we're seeing that start to rotate and change. If you listen to AMAs, I was on 5 years ago talking about this. I said in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see major players start coming into the crypto industry, into the blockchain realm and deploying their platforms because they see the viability of it too. But these guys know how to do business. And one of the people that told me this is the founder of a company called Metagravity Games. This was years ago. And I watched a YouTube of him kind of like this. And he was talking with someone and he said, the thing about these companies is I have NDAs by most of them and I can't disclose who they are, but I've worked for every major technology provider in the world. And I can tell you this, they have been delving into blockchain and meta strategies for the past 5 years. And the rest of the world is just now finding out about meta and blockchain. So they are absolutely moving in this direction. And they're still coming. Facebook changed their name to Meta. I wonder why that is, right? So when you see the amount of industries that are coming in when it comes to gaming and the amount of gamers already here, casinos, and it makes sense. For anybody, it makes sense. But the fraud and stuff, that is cycling out. It's getting harder and harder for people to do it. And regulations are tightening up throughout globally to help prevent it because you have countries now, including the US, that are building crypto strategic reserves, right? So I think any industry is going to start looking this direction eventually.
Yeah, I'd seen it wasn't a good response, but I saw a company made a Dogecoin treasury. Stockholders were not happy, and the price reflected that. But
everyone has their has their Elon moments.
Yeah, I was like, well, Dogecoin treasury is an interesting idea. I'm not fully sure if that should have maybe passed all the various levels of management here, but market people love that.
Yeah, so no, I get you, but the businesses don't always make the right decisions either.
That's fair.
That's fair. With that being said, I'm a very strong believer in strategic reserve of crypto. It's smart. I mean, look at XRP, right? XRP was designed to make its entire protocol is to make money transfer globally faster for companies and governments, right? that stuff has been around for years. Had to fight the SEC just to stay around, and now they're not, and they're trying to get a use case going. Like there's a bunch of protocols in blockchain that are very strong and give very strong use cases to everyone, right? From governments to business to individuals, that exist. And those companies are now billion-dollar companies that have their legs underneath them and they're running.
Yep.
So we're going to see more of that come in. And from a gaming side, gambling side, I think the way that we're doing it is going to be something that is looked at very strongly by a lot of big players that are much bigger than us because of the viability of the model, to be frank. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Well, listen, I throw in a few extra personal questions because I think this conversation is fascinating. I do think prediction markets are the future. I think there's no world where people don't just end up, especially with inflation getting worse and worse and it becoming more and more of a glaring problem and people paying off literal sandwiches with 4 months, 4 weekly payments of, $2.99.
Oh my God. Have you seen the statistics on that actually?
It's bad. It's really, really bad. So because of these things, I'm like, we're probably going to have some of these things. So for me, that's why I asked a few extra of those questions. So I appreciate you kind of playing ball.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, so I love these questions because I really believe in blockchain. I really believe in crypto. Like I'm a very strong advocate, but I understand its flaws and where it's hurt before. And I understand the things that need to change in order for things to get better. So I'm not one of those people saying everyone go crypto now. I'm saying the capabilities are there if the ecosystem is developed properly. But yeah, statistically in the US, largest economy in the world, right? Has the largest disposable income per household on average, but 40% of US citizens admitted to taking out a buy now, pay later loan to buy their groceries. I think that's what you're referencing with sandwiches, with the sandwich comment. The global economy is going through some major struggles right now. And there's a lot of things that crypto can do as far as with globalization, with strategic reserves and stuff like that, to actually prop up and support. And I think you're seeing entire countries move their ecosystems to it. And to me, I'm a big proponent of like anyone who started the Kardashev scale. I'm an engineer by trade, so I'm super into physics and science. And as a level 0 society, going to level 1 is the most dangerous time in any global society's lifespan. But it's where you go from a multinational society to a singular global society. And I have my super secret thought process of if crypto sticks around, we start to see the formation of a more global society based off of it. I have friends, and when I was a kid, I grew up and I could call my friends when we went to college. Worst case, we were a couple of hours away, I have friends in countries that I have never visited that I talk to on a daily basis. Every single day, I just got off the phone with one of my best friends from the Netherlands, right? He's flown out here, stayed with me for a few months. He's also become my lead developer and like main person to help me figure out my ideas and put them into tech. But like, it's really giving us we had the internet boom, which gave us access to information, right? Yep. Now we have a crypto boom, which is giving us access to a world that existed all on our headsets, on Xbox, on our LAN parties, where we started actually having a digital life. And this started back when I was, I'm an early life millennial. I was born in the 80s. So I kind of had that early experience of corded phones wrapped around the kitchen island. My first computer, I played Hangman on a Tandy that had a giant CRT monitor and sat in our kitchen because we had a computer room, to, fast forward to high school and college and, cell phones, everything's around that currently exists. So I had the experience of what it was like before. And the world is transitioning faster and faster and faster, right? Just like how we say the space moves at the speed of light, the world is starting to move a lot faster. And I think with old liquidity models and with old Federal Reserve models, I don't think that they're reactive enough or fast enough to deal with society at that pace. And I think that crypto kind of segues into keeping up with the growth rate of our information expansion, technology expansion. That's kind of my feeling. I believe in that. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
It will certainly be one to watch. I'm just glad to be alive to be here while it's happening and watch it happen. And
the thing is, no one knows for sure, right? It's my belief. My belief space is kind of there. But I think it's most definitely fun to watch, and we're watching it right now. Watching the market pump, watching things come in, and we're like, oh, Jesus Christ. We see it all the time. I saw this 2 weeks ago and it was like under $1. Now it's $500. What the hell? You
There
know?
you go. Yeah.
Or just people thought meme tokens weren't going to work. And a lot of them don't, like, let's be honest, but Doja's still here. It hadn't gone anywhere. Right.
Sure.
And it has no use case. Right. Same thing with SHIB. Like, I'm a big, like, utility you need to have something that does something.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, yeah. But it's stuff like that. Like, it's just people believe in it. You know, you have people that you can buy a car in it and it's an unlimited supply token.
Sure.
So if people can believe in something, it works. You know, I think that's all it takes is belief. And I think we're trending in that. Now, some of the names, like, could you ever imagine someone be like, yeah, can I pay you with this Pepe shit? Do you accept that here? Do you accept that currency here?
So brutal.
Yes, sir. We've been taking that for the past 6 months.
Yeah. You're like, I'm actually a crypto DJ. I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually got into that IPO. That's funny.
Yeah,
exactly. Keegan, I could probably talk to you for like a couple hours, to be honest. I think the industry is fascinating. And also I can feel the passion kind of like literally oozing from when you're speaking. So I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Well, I wanted to get back over to you for any closing comments, as well as anything we didn't hit that you wanted to make sure we bring up before we wrap for anyone who's listening.
There's a lot of stuff that wasn't hit that I can't bring up, but I want to talk about so bad. Like, there's stuff in the front of my mind. I'm just like, I want to tell someone. I actually ended up calling with my friend and developer last night for like 3.5 hours. It's like, I just have to talk to someone about everything that's going on because I have no one to tell and I feel like I'm going to explode. Right. I guess in closing, I'd want to tell people, like, look, we believe in the space that we're entering. The business that is currently existing has been here for 13 years. It has $51 million in revenue yearly. We're not new to business. We know what we're doing. And we're not new to blockchain. We've been here since it started. And we don't plan on going anywhere for the long term. There's a lot of plans moving in the background. Like I said, I can't discuss. But there's a lot of stuff I can. And I think if you just follow us and watch, maybe grab some if you believe, go in and enter chart and watch our chart go up, down, do whatever. That's not what we want. We want you to watch us and see us grow and actually see what we're here to do. If you've never played, like I have never placed a sports bet in my life, right? I probably am going to have to now because I'm, because of my position in what I do now. But with that being said, even if you don't, once we launch, the marketplace will be there. And whether or not you ever gamble, whatever you want to call it, bet, you can access the marketplace and utilize the rewards in it just like anyone else that holds the heat token. So we build in multiple ways for people to access the community and to participate. And no matter who you are, what you do, we want you here. We want you in the space. And if we have it our way, we want you as part of Steam as well.
Let's get it. Amazing. Keegan, listen, I really appreciate it. It's a really fun conversation. For people who are interested in the conversation around anything going on in the sports betting world or anything we talked about, definitely be sure to follow them on X. Look, you're missing out because the future is coming. It's coming every single day. The sun will rise tomorrow. And we'll be here. We'll be covering it. And it looks like we're trending more and more towards this direction anyway. So, Keegan, really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Everyone tuning in at home, have an amazing rest of your day. We'll be back on Spaces here in about 20 minutes talking deep pins over with Daba. And then in about an hour and a half, I believe, we're talking Bitcoin. So we'll be back on Spaces in a little bit. We'll catch you guys all in the next one. Take care, everyone.
Bye.